In the years after India's 1998 nuclear tests, Islamabad intensified intelligence efforts, Beijing expanded strategic monitoring of Indian missile programs, and Western agencies closely tracked India's defense partnerships, placing Indian research facilities under unprecedented foreign scrutiny. India responded by quietly authorizing a covert counterintelligence effort to identify and dismantle foreign espionage networks operating inside the country. Internally, it was designated Operation Shakti. The operation did not begin with arrests or alarms. It began with unease. Inside a defense-linked research establishment, analysts noticed something that did not sit right. Foreign assessments were predicting India's internal timelines with unsettling accuracy. Missile test windows appeared anticipated. Procurement discussions seemed reflected abroad before decisions were finalized. No documents were missing, no systems were breached, yet sensitive knowledge was clearly traveling. Counterintelligence units were alerted discreetly. No suspects were named, no accusations made. The directive was observation. Investigators began with access, not individuals. Who handled which files? Who attended which meetings? Who moved between departments? Patterns slowly emerged. Senior officials were not the weak point. The exposure lay lower. Junior engineers, analysts, clerks, vendors, and contract staff. People trusted with fragments, not the whole picture. Operation Shakti formally took shape there. Its first principle was patience. Phones were not aggressively tapped. Emails were not immediately intercepted. Financial records were reviewed quietly, focusing on small, recurring transactions that avoided detection thresholds. Travel histories were compared against academic calendars and unofficial conferences. At first, nothing dramatic surfaced. Then, connections appeared. A technician maintained repeated contact with an overseas research consultant tied to no legitimate institution. A university scientist attended invitation-only workshops absent from public schedules. A logistics contractor received payments routed through layered intermediaries for services that barely existed on paper. Each case, by itself, meant nothing. Together, they formed a structure. This was not a network stealing blueprints or classified manuals. It was collecting context, internal disagreements, shifting priorities, delays, human behavior. Intelligence assembled from fragments that no classification system could fully protect. Foreign handlers never contacted sources directly. They relied on intermediaries posing as recruiters, collaborators, or business partners. Instructions were buried in ordinary language. A postponed meeting signaled caution. A change of subject indicated transfer. Silence meant abort. One misstep could expose everything. Indian intelligence faced a choice: shut the network down early and lose visibility, or let it run and risk deeper compromise. Operation Shakti chose control. Surveillance intensified quietly. Meetings in cafes, hotel lobbies, and private residences were observed. Travel routes were logged. Behavioral shifts analyzed. Analysts focused less on what was said and more on timing, repetition, and deviation. The turning point came when intelligence indicated that fragments related to missile testing schedules and internal strategic debates had already crossed borders. Not enough to cripple programs, but enough to shape foreign threat assessments. This was escalation. Operation Shakti entered its active phase. Pressure was applied without explanation. Financial audits appeared suddenly. Travel clearances stalled. Access permissions were revised under routine reviews. Foreign contacts went silent. Handlers abroad sensed interference but could not locate it. Meanwhile, Indian agencies initiated controlled interrogations, not raids, conversations. Informal questioning designed to provoke reaction rather than confession. Some individuals revealed more through restraint than speech. By now, the architecture was clear. The network was wide but shallow, which made it dismantleable. Coordinated action followed. Select operatives were detained under national security provisions. Others were confronted with evidence sufficient to compel cooperation without public exposure. Some cases moved into sealed legal channels. Others vanished into administrative resolutions. There were no headlines, no press briefings. Communication channels collapsed within weeks. Foreign handlers reassigned assets, assuming compromise but lacking proof. Information flow stopped almost overnight. Years of work dissolved into silence. Operation Shakti succeeded through denial, not force. The immediate outcome was containment. Sensitive programs were secured, access protocols rewritten, psychological vetting strengthened. Information was compartmentalized not to isolate institutions, but to limit predictability. The deeper impact was doctrinal. The operation demonstrated that modern espionage thrives on human behavior more than stolen secrets. Ambition, frustration, routine, and trust had become the new vulnerabilities. Much of Operation Shakti remains classified. Names are redacted, details fragmented. The public record shows only an outline. The network did not collapse loudly. It faded. And in intelligence work, silence is confirmation. If such a structure once operated undetected, the question persists: how many others are still watching, learning, and waiting?